All right, One Piece fanatics ready to dive deep. Today, it's all about Chapter 1, Romance Dawn, the dawn of the adventure itself.
Ah, where it all began. The start of a legendary journey.
I know, right? We've got a whole stack of maps and logs here, excerpts from the chapter, the One Piece wiki, even some glimpses into eingefugter text, an earlier version of the story.
A real treasure trove of information.
But our real quest today, to uncover what makes this first chapter so darn gripping and how it foreshadows the One Piece magic that's captivated the world.
And it all starts not with our rubber-limbed protagonist, but with another pirate legend, Gold Roger.
Yeah, we're thrown right into Roger's execution, a public spectacle with crowds going wild, and honestly, it was intense. I remember thinking, is this really a shonen manga?
It definitely sets the tone, that's for sure, and subverts expectations. More importantly, it lays down the challenge, Roger's last words, "You want my treasure? You can have it. I left everything I gathered together in one place. Now go, find it."
Basically threw open the gates to the great pirate era. The world just explodes with this chaotic, treasure-hungry energy.
That's like someone lit a fuse, and suddenly everyone and their grandma wants to be a pirate.
Exactly. The world's turned upside down.
And then we meet Luffy, who, funnily enough, already has his sights set on being Pirate King way before this whole treasure hunt craze kicks off.
He's not driven just by the treasure, though, is he? He's in love with the idea of adventure, freedom, and I think more than anything by that sense of camaraderie he sees in Shanks and his crew.
Oh, absolutely. Young Luffy in Fuchsia Village, basically idolizing Shanks and those red hair pirates. And to prove he's tough enough to join him, he, stabs himself under his own eye. A bit drastic for an 8-year-old, don't you think? But it shows you Luffy in a nutshell, right? Impulsive, headstrong, and ready to do some crazy stuff to get his point across. Almost like Oda's giving us a sneak peek at what this guy's willing to do throughout his adventure. What do you think, listener? Did this moment make you chuckle, cringe, or maybe a bit of both?
Both. Definitely both.
Yeah.
Shocking, but also hilarious in a way. So Luffy. And then we head over to Party's bar, right? Haguma and his bandit crew swagger in, stirring up trouble, and we see this clear contrast between Shanks and Luffy's philosophies.
Yeah, this is where the thematic foundation starts taking shape. Shanks, even though he's a powerful pirate, stays calm even when Haguma smashes a bottle over his head. Peace and his crew's safety, those are his top priorities. Luffy, on the other hand, he's furious. Sees Shanks not fighting back as cowardly, can't wrap his head around it.
That's so true. Even at that age, Luffy has this unshakable sense of justice. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a big shot pirate or a 2-bit bandit.
Yeah.
You stand up for what's right. It really sets the stage for his character, Shows that beneath all the goofiness and impulsiveness, there's a strong moral compass ticking away.
And speaking of impulsive, shortly after, Luffy makes a choice that'll change his life forever, eating this weird fruit from a treasure chest.
The Gomu Gomu no Mi. Were you surprised when you found out what kind of devil fruit Luffy ate, listener?
I know I was. It's not exactly the most, shall we say, intimidating power, is it? Turning into a rubber human almost seems kind of silly at first.
Right.
But Oda's clever, see? He uses this seemingly goofy ability to introduce a core element of the One Piece world. Devil fruits, mystical fruits, granting crazy powers, but with a catch. The user can't swim anymore.
Which, in a world practically drowning in ocean, is a pretty big deal, especially for a pirate. It's such a smart move by Oda, creating this built-in challenge for Luffy. The thing he loves, the sea, is now his biggest weakness. Instantly makes his dream of being Pirate King seem even more, impossible.
It's like this constant source of tension and humor throughout the series, and it forces Luffy to think outside the box, rely on his friends and allies, makes his wins even more satisfying because we know he's always fighting against this huge handicap.
Totally. It's not just brute force. He has to be clever, resourceful to survive. But even with his rubber powers, he's still just a kid. And when Haguma kidnaps him, that's a harsh wake-up call, showing just how dangerous the pirate world can be.
Yeah, and it underscores Luffy's naivete. He might have a strong sense of justice and this new power, but he's still impulsive, reckless, jumps headfirst into things, not always thinking about the consequences. It's what makes him endearing, but also lands him in hot water constantly. This run-in with Haguma, it's a foreshadowing of all the challenges, all the tough enemies Luffy's going to face on his journey.
It sets the tone for the kind of world he's stepping into, for sure. A world where strength alone isn't enough. And then it happens. One of the most iconic moments in the entire series. Shanks, to protect Luffy, loses his arm to a Sea King.
It's a turning point for both of them, For Shanks, it's proof of his faith in Luffy's potential. He sees something in this goofy, stubborn kid, something worth losing an arm for. And for Luffy, it's a brutal reality check. He finally grasps the true cost of the pirate life, the sacrifices, the risks you take for the people you care about.
It's such a powerful scene. Shanks, covered in blood, just calmly tells the Sea King to scram, then turns to Luffy with a smile.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking but also inspiring. Shows how deep their bond runs, the love and respect they share.
And then that gut-wrenching goodbye at the docks. Shanks gives Luffy his most treasured possession, his straw hat. It's more than just a hat, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it becomes this symbol, this powerful symbol that runs through the whole series. It's a physical reminder of their bond, a promise to meet again when Luffy's become a great pirate. And for Luffy, it's like this symbol of everything he's fighting for, the legacy he has to live up to.
And visually, it's striking, isn't it? That single panel of Shanks placing the hat on Luffy's head, so iconic. It's been replicated in merchandise, fan art, key moments throughout the series. It's like Oda knew right from the start that this image would be at the heart of the One Piece mythos.
Totally. And with that image burned into our minds, we jump ahead 10 years. Luffy's all grown up, setting sail on his own. Stronger, more determined, but still with that same goofy grin. He even runs into that same Sea King that took Shanks' arm. But this time, well, he takes it down without breaking a sweat. Gomu Gomu no pistol. What a way to show us how far he's come.
To talk about a power move, it's like a visual representation of his growth. He's mastered his devil fruit, trained his body, and he's ready to take on the Grand Line head on. But what's interesting is that even though he's stronger, he's facing the same dangers. That Sea King is a symbol of the constant threat that lurks in this world.
A reminder that no matter how strong he gets, there'll always be new challenges, new enemies, unexpected dangers. And it reinforces that he's still got a long way to go before he reaches his goal of becoming Pirate King.
He's definitely on his way, though, that's for sure. With his unyielding spirit, his unique abilities, and that straw hat on his head, we know it's going to be one heck of a ride. The perfect setup for the epic adventure that is One Piece. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there's some really fascinating tidbits about the creation of this chapter that we got to talk about. Did you know that this first chapter was originally way longer?
Really? How much longer are we talking?
Hold on to your straw hats, because this thing was a whopping 57 pages long, with 16 of them in full color.
Whoa. That's almost twice the length of a normal chapter. No wonder it feels so jam-packed with story and character development.
And get this, Romance Dawn wasn't a one-time title. There were actually 2 earlier one-shots with the same name, almost like prototypes for the One Piece we know and love.
So Oda was already playing around with these ideas, these characters, before settling on this version. It makes you wonder how different One Piece could have been if he'd gone with one of those earlier drafts.
It's a glimpse into Oda's creative process, isn't it? Even a masterpiece like One Piece didn't just appear out of thin air. It took time, experimentation, a willingness to revise and refine his ideas. And speaking of revisions, did you notice anything interesting about the cover art for this chapter, listener?
Let's see, we've got Luffy, Shanks' crew, and Nami, which is kind of strange considering she doesn't actually show up in this chapter.
It's like a hidden clue, foreshadowing what's to come.
Right.
And according to Eingefichter text, Nami being on the cover might be leftover from Oda's initial plan. Apparently, he was thinking about making her Luffy's first crewmate.
Now that would have been a shakeup. It's so cool to get these behind-the-scenes peeks, seeing how Oda played with different ideas and characters before landing on the story we have today.
It reminds us that even the most iconic stories, the ones that feel so meant to be, were once just a bunch of ideas constantly being shaped and molded. Makes you appreciate the artistry, the craftsmanship that goes into building a world as massive and intricate as One Piece.
Totally. And while we're talking details, there are a few continuity errors that fans have pointed out over the years. Like when Higuma kicks down the door to Party's bar, it's magically fixed when he leaves a few minutes later.
Classic manga shenanigans. I remember reading that a fan actually pointed this out to Oda, and he jokingly said there must have been a traveling carpenter who fixed it off screen.
It's just charming, you know? These little imperfections remind us that One Piece, even with its epic scale and complex world, is still a work of passion, made by someone who loves telling stories. It makes it feel more human, more relatable.
Speaking of passion, it shines through in every panel, from the dynamic action to those quiet character moments. You can feel Oda's dedication to his craft, his love for these characters, this world.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this first chapter and the whole One Piece saga so captivating. It's more than just a story. It's an experience. But beyond the technical stuff and the behind-the-scenes trivia, What truly makes Romance Dawn hit home is how it sets up the core themes of One Piece.
Absolutely. We've talked about Luffy's sense of justice, his unwavering desire for freedom. But what about friendship, loyalty? Shanks and his crew, they're ready to risk their necks for Luffy, a kid they've known for like a year.
And Luffy, in turn, is willing to stand up to that whole gang of bandits to protect Shanks' honor, even though he's totally powerless at that point.
It speaks volumes about the bonds they form, even in such a short time. And this whole theme of Natama, finding your chosen family, it runs through the entire series. Did this early focus on friendship grab you, listener? What are your thoughts on Luffy's connection with Shanks and his crew?
I know for me, that's what hooked me right from the start. It's not just about adventure, it's about the people you share it with. And that feeling of freedom, of adventure, that's at the heart of One Piece, it's woven into every part of this first chapter.
Couldn't agree more. From Roger's call to find his treasure, to Shanks's tales of the open sea, to Luffy's own declaration that he'll be Pirate King, it's all about breaking free from the ordinary and chasing your dreams. It's like Oda's inviting us along on this journey with Luffy, promising a world full of wonder and excitement. And the best part, we're just getting started.
That's right. We've only dipped our toes into what makes Romance Dawn so special. But before we set sail for the rest of the Grand Line, it's time for a little breather. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the world of One Piece. Don't go anywhere. Back again, deep divers. Fresh from exploring the depths of Romance Dawn, the very first chapter of One Piece.
It's amazing what Oda managed to fit into those opening pages.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah, we've got major themes, those iconic characters, the foundation of the One Piece world, all right there. But what's even more impressive, I think, is how he uses visuals to tell the story.
Oh, you're so right. It's not just the words on the page. It's how they're presented, how they're shown to us.
Yeah.
So how does Oda use art to make this story so gripping, to pull us in?
Well, think about that opening scene, Roger's execution. The paneling is dynamic, almost chaotic, Close-ups of Roger's face, the crowd's reactions, the executioner's sword all coming together.
Right.
It creates this energy, this tension, pulling us right into the action.
And the contrast. The dark execution platform against that bright sky. It's like a visual representation of all those mixed emotions swirling around the sadness of Roger's death, but also this anticipation for the new era he's ushering in.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is. I remember just feeling overwhelmed by all these different feelings reading those first few pages.
Oh, absolutely. And it carries through the whole chapter. Think about Shanks' expressions, for instance. When he's with Luffy, it's all smiles, playful, right? But when he faces down that Sea King, his face hardens, his eyes are full of determination. Oda uses these subtle shifts in expression to show us how deep Shanks' character runs, his love for Luffy, and that he's willing to put everything on the line to protect him.
And don't even get me started on the action sequences. When Luffy goes up against Higuma, the panels explode with movement. Speed lines, exaggerated poses. You can almost feel every punch, every kick.
Yeah.
It's not just violence for the sake of it. It's about capturing Luffy's energy, his raw power.
Exactly. But then you have those quieter moments, the ones that focus on the characters connecting with each other. That scene where Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat, remember? The panels are simple, almost bare. The focus is solely on them, their faces so close, the hat passing between them. It's a moment packed with emotion, and Oda lets the art speak for itself.
It's so true. And while we're on the subject of powerful moments, I think we need to talk about that well. The Sea King in the room, so to speak. Shanks loses his arm. It's shocking, heartbreaking, and it instantly shows us just how high the stakes are in this world. Did you ever wonder why Oda chose to have Shanks lose his arm so early on in the story?
It's a bold choice for sure, but I think it serves a few purposes. First, it shows that even the strongest pirates, they're not invincible. This isn't a world where you can just muscle your way through everything. You got to be smart, resourceful, ready to make sacrifices. Second, it underlines how important it is to protect the people you care about. Shanks, he's willing to give up a part of himself to save Luffy, showing us the depth of his love, his belief in Luffy's potential. And finally, it sets up a powerful motivation for Luffy, doesn't it? He's not just out for adventure anymore. He's seeking the strength to protect the people he loves, to make sure he never has to experience that kind of loss again.
It's like a chain reaction. This one event sets so much in motion, and it brings up another question for me. We know Luffy wants to be Pirate King, but what does that actually mean in this world? What makes that title so special?
It's not just about riches or power, is it? It's about freedom, about reaching the ultimate level of self-determination. Roger, the previous Pirate King, he was said to have achieved everything a pirate could dream of. Freedom, adventure, wealth, a loyal crew, the whole 9 yards. He embodied the very spirit of being a pirate.
So for Luffy, it's not just about finding the One Piece. It's about walking in Roger's footsteps, reaching that peak of freedom, and creating his own definition of what it means to be Pirate King.
Exactly. It's about forging his own path, building his own legacy.
And that's what makes his journey so exciting. He's not just following a set path, he's creating his own definition of success. And that idea of choosing your own destiny, chasing your dreams, no matter how crazy they seem, well, it speaks to people, doesn't it? I think that's a big part of why One Piece has become this global phenomenon.
It does. It really does.
It's a story that taps into that universal yearning for freedom, adventure, for something bigger than ourselves. But it's also about the power of friendship, loyalty, finding your place in the world, and all of that. It's all introduced right here in this first chapter.
Absolutely. It's like Oda planted the seeds for the whole series in Romance Dawn, and as we keep reading, those seeds sprout and grow into this incredible world, overflowing with adventure, humor, and heart. But speaking of the One Piece world, there's something about devil fruits I wanted to touch on. We've talked about how they give you these powers, but also come with a weakness. Did you ever stop to think about how much depth this one idea adds to the story?
You know what, you're right. It's not just a simple power boost. It changes everything. Losing the ability to swim, it creates this constant tension, this hurdle that Luffy has to overcome time and time again. It forces him to be resourceful, to rely on his crewmates, and makes his victories that much more impressive.
Exactly. And it opens up so many possibilities for the story. Think about all the battles Luffy's fought, the islands he's visited, the challenges he's faced. His inability to swim is always there, shaping his strategies, his decisions, his relationships. It's a brilliant example of how a seemingly simple limitation can actually make the narrative richer, more engaging.
It really makes you think about other stories, other characters with unique limitations. How do those limitations shape their paths? How do they overcome them? It's a reminder that limitations can actually be a source of strength, a catalyst for growth and creativity.
Yeah.
But speaking of limitations, there's one thing in this first chapter that always kind of bugged me. It's about Luffy's first encounter with Higuma.
Oh, what didn't sit right with you?
Well, it's when he calls Shanks a coward for not fighting back. It just felt a little off, you know? Shanks is this seasoned pirate, a captain with a loyal crew. Why wouldn't he defend himself? It seemed out of character.
That's an interesting point. It's something fans have debated for years, actually. Some say Shanks was just trying to avoid a pointless fight, that he valued peace over pride. Others think he was protecting his crew, knew fighting Higuma would put them in danger, and some even suggest that he saw something in Luffy, knew this whole encounter would ultimately shape Luffy's journey. What do you think, listener? Was Luffy right to call Shanks out, or is there more to the story?
It's one of those details that you can interpret in different ways, which just adds another layer to the story, I think.
It does.
And it goes back to those contrasting philosophies we talked about. Luffy believes in fighting for what's right no matter what. Shanks is more pragmatic, more focused on the long game. And that clash of viewpoints, it's something we'll see again and again throughout the series.
Absolutely. It's what makes the dynamic between Luffy and Shanks so complex and fascinating. They both crave freedom, they both cherish their friends, but they see the world through different lenses. It's a relationship that will shape Luffy's path as he meets other mentors, rivals, and allies along the way. But before we dive deeper into those relationships and the adventures that await Luffy, let's take a moment to talk about something truly special to One Piece, the concept of nakama.
Ah, nakama. It's such a powerful word in this world, and it's introduced right here in Romance Dawn. What does nakama mean to you, listener? How would you define it?
It's more than just friendship, isn't it? It's this bond built on loyalty, trust, shared experiences. It's about finding people who believe in you, who support your dreams, who are willing to fight by your side no matter what. It's about finding your chosen family.
And it's so beautifully portrayed in this first chapter. Shanks and his crew, they're ready to put their lives on the line for Luffy, even though he's not officially one of them yet. They see his potential, they care about him, and they defend him as if he were family. It's a powerful example of what nakama truly means.
Absolutely.
And it sets the stage for the incredible crew that Luffy will eventually assemble.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes One Piece stand out from other shonen series, I think. It's not just about the main character getting stronger. It's about building a team, a family of individuals who have each other's backs and work together towards their goals. And that theme of nakama, of finding your tribe, it resonates with people all over the world, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
It's a universal desire, this longing to find where you belong, where you're accepted for who you are, and where you can share your hopes and dreams with people who get you. And One Piece shows us that we can find those connections anywhere with people from all walks of life as long as we're open to it.
It's a message of hope, of inclusivity, and it's one of the reasons why One Piece has touched so many people.
Yeah.
But as much as we could talk about Nakama and all the amazing characters in this world, we can't forget that it's all built on this foundation of world building. Oda's created this massive, intricate world with its own history, geography, cultures, even its own laws of physics. And a lot of that is subtly introduced in Romance Dawn. What elements of the world building stuck out to you, listener? For me, it was devil fruits. That one concept instantly establishes this unique power system with its own rules, limitations, possibilities. It's not just about who's the strongest, it's about how different powers interact, how characters use their abilities in creative ways to overcome challenges.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, what other devil fruits are out there? What amazing powers haven't we seen yet? It's like opening a treasure chest full of potential.
It is. And devil fruits are just one piece of the world-building puzzle. We also get glimpses of the geography with mentions of the Grand Line, this dangerous sea route packed with uncharted islands and powerful pirates.
Yeah.
We hear about different cultures and societies, from the peaceful Fuchsia village to the lawlessness of Party's Bar, and we get hints of a rich history with references to Gold Roger and that legendary treasure he left behind. It's all so intriguing, just enough to make us want to learn more.
It's like Oda's given us a treasure map with just a few key landmarks marked, and it's up to us to fill in the blanks, to uncover the secrets and wonders hidden in this vast, uncharted world. And that's what makes Romance Dawn so captivating. It's not just a beginning, it's an invitation to an adventure. But as we set sail into the unknown waters of the Grand Line, I think it's time for a short pause, to reflect on what we've learned and prepare ourselves for the incredible journey ahead. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the world of One Piece. Anchors away, fellow explorers. We're back on deck after charting the vast world and thematic depths of Romance Dawn.
It's amazing the journey we've taken, isn't it? From that heartbreaking spectacle of Roger's execution to Luffy and Shanks' bittersweet farewell. This chapter, it's a masterclass in storytelling.
It really is. And as we approach the final island on our deep dive map, I want to hear from you, listener. What are your thoughts on Romance Dawn now? Has our exploration shifted your perspective at all?
We've talked about the art, the characters, the themes, heck, even those little continuity hiccups. But I think at its core, Romance Dawn is more than just a beginning. It's like a promise.
A promise. I like that. Go on, tell me more.
It's a promise of adventure, of laughter, of tears, of battles that'll have you on the edge of your seat, and friendships that'll touch your heart. It's Oda saying, hey, come aboard, let's set sail on an unforgettable journey together.
Like he's handing us that straw hat, right? Inviting us to be part of Luffy's crew, to experience the world of One Piece firsthand. And knowing what we know now, after exploring this first chapter so deeply, I'm curious, listener, what are your expectations for the rest of the story?
Do you picture those epic clashes on the high seas? Unforgettable characters joining Luffy's Nakama? Twists and turns that'll leave you speechless?
I'm eager to see how Luffy grows as a captain, how his devil fruit powers evolve, and how he tackles the dangers of the Grand Line. Speaking of his powers, I think it's worth revisiting the significance of that Gomu Gomu no Mi. It's not exactly the flashiest devil fruit out there, is it?
Well, not at first glance, no. But it fits Luffy perfectly. It's like a reflection of his personality. Stretchy, bouncy, adaptable.
So true.
And as we've seen, Oda has found incredibly inventive ways to use what seems like a pretty basic ability, pushing the limits of what a rubber human can do.
From the Gomu Gomu no pistol to that hilarious Gomu Gomu no Fusen, his fighting style is a mix of power and pure entertainment. It's a testament to Oda's imagination that he can take something like rubber and turn it into something so visually dynamic, so full of surprises.
And let's not forget the downsides.
Yeah.
Luffy's inability to swim, it's this constant source of suspense, but also humor. Forces him to rely on his crew, be strategic in fights, and overcome obstacles in ways you wouldn't expect. What do you think, listener? Would you trade the ability to swim for the powers of the Gomu Gomu no Mi? It's a tough call. But that's part of what makes Luffy's journey so engaging. He's not some invincible hero. He has flaws, makes mistakes, and always seems to be up against impossible odds.
Right.
But that's what makes his victories so satisfying.
It's that classic hero's journey, right? You start small, with this huge dream and a lot to learn. You face obstacles, you grow stronger, and you finally reach your goals. But it's the journey itself, the highs and lows, the bonds formed, the lessons learned. That's what truly captivates us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And Romance Dawn, It's the perfect launch pad for that journey. It introduces the world, the characters, the themes, the possibilities. It's like a mini version of the whole One Piece experience. And knowing that Luffy ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi right there in Chapter 1, how do you think that shaped your expectations for the story?
Did you ever doubt he'd achieve his dream knowing he couldn't swim? Or did you, like Shanks, see the potential in him, that unwavering drive that would lead him to greatness? It's something to think about, isn't it? As we wrap up our deep dive into Romance Dawn, I'm left with this sense of awe and excitement. Awe for Oda's storytelling brilliance, how he's created a world so vast, so detailed, so vibrant. And excitement for the adventures that await, the battles, the friendships, the laughter, and yeah, probably some tears along the way.
We've only just begun to explore the Grand Line, and I, for one, can't wait to see where it takes us. So until next time, dear listener, keep that spirit of exploration alive, keep questioning, keep adventuring. May your journey be filled with laughter, with nakama, and the thrill of discovering new horizons.
Farewell for now, fellow adventurers, and may you always find your own One Piece.